In this video, we'll write decimals as fractions and fractions as decimals. To write a decimal number as a fraction, write the digits without the decimal point and leaving zeros as the numerator. Then write the denominator as a power of 10 with as many zeros as there are places after the decimal point. Then reduce the fraction. Note, if you're instructed to write answers as mixed numbers, you should do so. Otherwise, improper fractions are fine. So now we're going to do an example writing each of these numbers as a fraction or mixed number. The only one that's going to be a mixed number is C there, but we will start with this. We've got 0.4, so we drop the 0 and the decimal place and write 4 over. There is one decimal place here, so that's 4 over 10, and then we simplify that. Greatest common denominator of 4 and 10 is 2, so we divide both by 2 and get 2/5. Here, we drop the 0, the decimal place, and the 0 to get 75 over. There are 3 decimal places, so we put that over 1,000. Okay, well, the greatest common denominator of 75 and 1,000 is 25. 75 divided by 25 is 3, and 1,000 divided by 25 is 40. So it's 3/40. Finally, we've got 3.17. The whole number part is going to stay the same. So that's 3 and 17/100. And 17 and 100 do not have any common factors, so we're done there. We just have to write it as 3 and 17/100. So to write a fraction as a mixed number, we place, it should be as a decimal. To write a fraction as a decimal, we first place the decimal point after the numerator, then divide the numerator by the denominator using long division. We attach zeros after the decimal point and the dividend as needed for division. Here's another example. We're going to change each of these fractions into decimals. So I've got 7/8. So first, I take that 7 and I write it as 0.7, and I'm just going to divide this by 8. Okay, well, I'm right off the bat going to need a decimal here because I can't put 8 into 7. I have to put it into 70. 8 goes into 70 6 times. Sorry, it goes into 70 8 times. 8 times 8. 8 times 8 is 64, and subtract, and I get a 6. Bring down another 0. 8 goes into 60 7 times. 7 times that, 8 times 8 is 56. And so I get a 4 out of that, and I get another 0 from there. I don't want to get into that space too much. And 40 divided by 8 is 5. So there is our decimal, 0.0875. We don't need to round this because that is a perfectly good decimal as it stands. 1/3. Well, 1/3, we're just going to take it like this. We've got a 0.1, and we're going to divide that by 3, add a 0 there. You know what? This 0 is not where it should be. That should have been like that, I think. You know what? It was supposed to be after. That's the problem. I'm sorry. So this is just 1 divided by 3. Well, 10 divided by 3 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Subtract, we get a 1. Bring down a 0. 10 divided by 3 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9, etc., etc., etc. And this is just going to be fine right there. 0.333, that's rounded to 3 places. Finally, we've got 4 divided by 11. There we go. Okay, well, we'll start by dividing 11 into 4.0. 11 goes into 4 0.3 times. 3 times 11 is 3.3. 0.3 times 11 is 3.3. So we subtract and we're left with a 7, 70. 11 goes into 76 times. 6 times 11 is 66, and we subtract and we get a 4, and we're going to repeat this. So it goes into 43 times, and it goes into 76 times, and we're going to round this. So that's 0.364, 0.364. So when fractions changed into decimals do not terminate, the decimals are called repeating decimals. And both our 1/3 and our 4/11ths will turn into repeating decimals. A repeating pattern will be established. Repeating decimals can be written with a line over the repeating digits or with an ellipsis after the pattern has been established. So for example, with 1/3, we can write this as 0.3 with that repetition bar over it, or 0.33 and then an ellipsis, because it's just going to keep going like that. With 4/11ths, we can write it as 0.36 with the repetition bar over the 3/6, or 0.3636 with the ellipsis. The decimal equivalent can be rounded to any desired place. The rounded decimal equivalent is an approximate decimal equivalent, and the repeating decimal notation is an exact decimal equivalent. To write a mixed number as a decimal, the whole number part remains the same, and then we write the fraction part as a decimal by dividing the numerator by the denominator. So we're asked here to change 3 2/5 into a decimal equivalent. Well, that's 2 divided by 5, or 0.4. So 3 2/5 is 3.4.